So COVID hits. Everyone starts to freak out. Oh, this is it. It's going to be over. I said, well, it could be over, or it could be the best thing that's ever happened to this company. It just depends how we reframe it in our minds, right?
It's your mindset.
Yeah. Totally come back to mindset. And they go, well, what do you mean, Paul? I said, well, think about it. What are we doing every night now? Tell me, what are you doing? Tim was like, well, we are watching Sky News, CNN, BBC News, how many people have died, what the latest COVID thing, all of it, the tragedy of what COVID was, right? I said, yeah, that exactly, snap. I said, and what do you think our ideal client is doing? Exactly the same thing. I said, exactly. But I said, you know what? There's something called the law of familiarity, which is that when we do something for so long and it becomes repetitive and the same, there comes a point where we take it just a little bit for granted and we get a little bit bored. And I said, at that point, our focus and our mind switches. And I said, that's where we need to have Oyster as that shining light of positivity in this pandemic. I said, in fact, we need to start our own pandemic of positivity. That's what we need to do with our clients. And they go, oh yeah, it all sounds good, Paul, but how are you going to do this? I said, I saw a guy years ago in the States that always talked about that big breakthroughs in industries generally don't come from the industry, because people do the same in the industry. You keep your eye on the competitors and you all do the same. So you all do it maybe 5-10% a bit better. So you all grow incrementally. But when you look outside your industry and find a strategy or a plan that you can bring into an industry that's completely new, that could really change the game. Not all of them, but it could really change the game. So, he made the point at the time, ballpoint pen, roll-on deodorant. Or buggies collapsing comes from planes landing gear. So these things, fiber optics now for communications and the internet, right? There's so many things, So I said, I've done a bit in the speaking industry. And the way that speakers grow their beards and says is they run this thing called a webinar. I said, so everyone's at home and they've got an internet connection. So why don't we run a series of webinars where we talk about the Oyster World Rally. We'll run another one. We'll launch it. But what we'll do is we'll take them on a journey around the world over maybe 6 months or so and give them that bit of entertainment that's positive, that they can come to and they can really enjoy.